Hey, all you comic book readers and true believers, it's Tuesday, and I'm your ever-loving blue-eyed comic book guy, Mitch Harmon. You guys know what's up. Mitch's Picks. For Marvel Comics, Web of Venom, The Good Son, written by Zach Thompson, art done by Dio Neves. Spinning out of the Absolute Carnage stuff, this story is going to revolve around Dylan, which is Eddie Brock's son, although he doesn't really know he's Eddie Brock's son. Actually, he might know, but no one else really knows that he's Eddie Brock's son. And also Normie Osborn. And this is kind of a couple of layers here because Normie was Goblin Child, which was in Spider-Man 800, and then Dylan is kind of have a connection to the symbiotes. Not entirely sure, but in this story, basically they're kind of roommates now. Dylan is living with Normie while Eddie kind of just disappears in the middle of the night to go on to Venom Island, which, you know, if you want that whole story, it's going on in the Venom stuff. But this one, Normie and Dylan are kind of just, they start out as pretty good friends, kind of both enjoying each other's company, but Normie starts to notice Dylan has not only night terrors, but also like people, like voices in his head and whatnot. People whispering things. Possibly Null whispering to him. Don't know how that connection happens there, but this is part of that Web of Venom stuff, which has got Venom and all those other great one-shot Venom stories, and this one kind of a epilogue of Absolute Carnage, but also kind of, I'm sure, prelude to what's going to be coming here in Venom soon enough. But good story, wonderful art, and if you're just a fan of Venom stuff, want to pick this up, guys, check it out. From IDW Comics, Ghostbusters Year 1, Number 1, written by Eric Burnham, art done by Dan Schoening. This is a new 4-part miniseries. Takes place right after the first movie, well before the second one though. Ghostbusters are kind of reeling from their fame of taking down the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, putting away Gozer, all that crazy stuff, only to now be kind of like trying to deal with the fame, and that is also having to deal with possibly people interviewing them. Someone is trying to write a biography of all of them, and she's trying to sit down. First one she's going to sit down with is Winston, trying to get a little bit of his backstory, what he was doing prior to the Ghostbusters, kind of some of his first work he did on the Ghostbusters. Just kind of give a little backstory. Each one, I'm assuming, is going to be another backstory of said character, Ray, Peter, and Egon. However, does seem to be an overall arcing story. I'm assuming it's something to do with this Edgar Allan Poe possible ghost, I guess you could say. But this is, just like I said, origin stories of all the characters. So if you're a fan of the Ghostbusters comic book or just a fan of the movie itself, this one's definitely for you guys. Check it out. For Marvel Comics, Guardians of the Galaxy number 1, written by Al Ewing, art done by Juan Cabal. This is taking place right after the Donny Cates Guardians of the Galaxy and all the Annihilation Scourge stuff, kind of tying into this a little bit. The Guardians have fought long and hard for a very, very long time, and now they're just kind of, I guess, relaxing, kind of hanging up their capes and cowls and hoping to just live as a family. But peace is never something that lasts for too long. Richard Rider, the original Nova, comes and asks for the Guardians' help with these new empowered Olympians. They're like reborn gods, but they have this blue skin when they power up, and it kind of turns them into gods, I guess you could say, powered up gods. But basically, they're just going around destroying the world, talking about the wheel has turned, the time of fire and lightning is upon us, and they're the new age of they're just being bad. But Richard is asking for help from anybody he can get, and the Guardians are kind of the closest thing they can find at a moment's notice. But Gamora, Drax, Groot, they're kind of done with that lifestyle, even though it's a threat to the entire universe. But anyways, Rocket and Peter Quill are on board with it, teaming up with Quasar, Moondragon, Richard Rider, and there's somebody else in there, but, you know, oh, that's right, Marvel Boy as well. He's on there, too. Kind of getting a ragtag group together to try to take on these new empowered Olympians. This is the beginning of the new ongoing Guardians of the Galaxy. Al Ewing doing all the Immortal Hulks, some spectacular story writing, and Juan Cabal, really nice art on this one, guys. If you're a fan of the show, if you're a fan of the movie, I definitely recommend this one, guys. Check it out. From Ablaze Comics, Kids number 1, written by Arlene Ducoudray, art done by Jocelyn Joret. This is a new miniseries coming out of Ablaze Comics. Kids is, despite the Goonie looking cover, this is not a Goonies-like story. They are basically kids who survived the zombie apocalypse. This is 3 years after the first known, I guess, zombie showed up. And they are seemingly to be like pretty much the only survivors in this little, at least in this little town. The kids kind of go around scraping and scrounging. Also, they have this little set of rules that you have to follow by, almost kind of like a zombie lane type of thing. But their rules are obviously different. And there are no adults. Seems like the only adults in this world are zombified individuals. And as these kids, who the oldest I think is 11, try to make sense of this world, trying to make do with what they have here, is it possible for children, preteens, to be able to live in a post-apocalyptic world, post-zombie apocalyptic world? It's a nice little fun book, despite the fact that it does look like Goonies and kids. This book is not for kids. There's a lot of gore, well, not a whole lot, but there's a gratuitous amount of gore and plenty of swearing. Those kids have potty mouths, but it's a nice little fun read. Interesting to see where the story goes, and it's a new independent book. I always recommend people check out the independents, guys. Check it out. From DC Comics, Wonder Woman 750. Written by Steve Orlando, Scott Snyder, Gail Simone. Art done by Riley Rossmo, Brian Hitch, Phil Hester, Colleen Doran, many, many more. This is playing off of the final stories of Year of the Villain from Wonder Woman. This is the finale of this. But this also has 8 other little short stories, kind of just going through Wonder Woman's history, I guess you could say, with the landmark issue of being 750. Each one has a unique story dealing with Diana's past and possibly things that may be coming in her future of her books. Wonderful art in all the stories. Really, really dig the Riley Rossmo art, but I'm also a particular fan of his stuff. But it's nice to see Greg Rucka back writing some Wonder Woman stories, and you get a Scott Snyder story in there too, guys. So you know it's going to be decent on that as well. We had the 2010s cover, and I believe the 1960s covers, which the 2010 is Adam Hughes, 1960s is J. Scott Campbell, and there's a lot of other ones too, guys. And we also have the Jim Lee's variant sketch for sale as well, guys. So definitely want to come pick this one up for all the Wonder Woman fans that are out there, or you just want to kind of get caught up in the Year of the Villain stuff. This is one for you guys. Check it out. That's all my picks for this week, everyone. In 2 weeks, not this Saturday, next Saturday, we are going to have a Mortal Kombat tournament here. It's going to start at 5 o'clock. Free to come just to show up and play, guys. Don't know if we're doing prize support. No. But still, it's going to show up, have fun, play some Mortal Kombat. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Come by and check that out. Like I said, that's all my picks for this week, everyone. Keep reading your comics, true believers. See you guys next week.